the golden era of Heart to Hearties. We are the official after show of the fans, and we love bringing your questions directly to our cast and crew. I'm Marg from pretty sunny California.
And I'm Jen from Seattle.
And I'm Dawn from North Carolina.
And our guest today, new to When Calls the Heart this season, but very, very anticipated, the lawyer, the rancher, Edie Martel, brought to us by Miranda MacDougall. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get to talk to you three.
Super. Are you in Vancouver?
I live in Vancouver. I actually right now I'm in Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm visiting. It's my Nana's 90th birthday coming up and my mom's 60th. So
it's
perfect.
Party energy in our family right now. So
great
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Cool. To get some time off
to them both. Have they watched you on When Calls the Heart?
They have, yes. They're loyal fans.
Oh my goodness. I bet their reaction was fun. That was a gift in itself that you brought them.
Totally. I know. Yeah. They've got to follow along with the antics of Edie.
Yeah, they can watch it on Super Channel up in Canada.
Exactly. In Canada.
Very
yes.
Nice. Very nice. Well, we're gonna just dig right into the Hearties questions. And Pia Sprague of Walnut Creek, California, would just love to hear about the audition process. Was it by videotape? How did it work? Was it with Candace Elzinga? What? Tell us everything.
Okay, well, it was a little bit of both. I find now kind of especially in like a post-pandemic advent of self-tape world that we're in right now. So I got my agent sent me the information for the tape. I put the initial scene on tape, and I think that the two scenes they asked us for were the train scene, heading back to I'm heading to Hope Valley, that scene, and the first scene in which Edie and Lucas meet at Capital City with the map and the park boundaries. So those are both really fun, great writing right off the top. I felt like it was something you could really kind of sink your teeth into. Edie's she's such an intelligent person, and I think the writing really reflects that, the things that she gets to say and the power with which she says them was really fun to tackle in a self-tape sense. So I sent the tape off, and then I got a call to have a chemistry read. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I went back for a callback. I think it was a chemistry read with Chris, and it was a few other potential Edies were there. Chris was there. He had kind of long hair at the time as well. He was rocking the off-duty Bouchard look. So I was like, oh, okay, hello. Because I had done some research and I knew that character wasn't a, swashbuckling pirate type. He is in his own right. He is in his own right. But yeah, that's what I remember from that moment, thinking like, oh, are they going this other direction with this season? And did the tape. It was so fun. We got to play a little bit in the room. Mike was great. He was giving some awesome direction and great feedback. I remember leaving feeling really good about what I had done. And I think a couple of days later, I got the call and we were off to the races.
You booked.
So
yeah,
cool.
It's always such a cool feeling.
So you had a good feeling about it. You've been doing this. You've been doing this a while, so you probably know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so funny because sometimes you do an audition, you feel so great about it, and then you never hear anything, and then sometimes you come out of the audition room kicking yourself, thinking like, "What the heck what just came out of my mouth? Who am I?" And then
it's every day for me.
I'm honestly saying in my real life that's every day. But then you get a call and they say, that was great, just what we're looking for. And you think like, what? How? But you take the job, of course. So I've kind of gotten used to just going in there, having fun, listening to the person, having like a real experience, and then just putting it in the hands of the universe, I guess.
Sure.
Very cool. And talk to us about when you say that you got to play a little bit with Chris. What did that look like? Did you have a specific sides that you had to do, or what?
Yeah, so it was the same ones from the original audition, but just doing it in person with another person, with a person who has you know, this role obviously down pat. He knows the nuances of Lucas and what he would do in these situations. So that was really fun to just kind of react quickly to the way that he was acting as this character opposite.
Okay. And
Yeah.
was just from that initial sense with the scene partner, what was your takeaway in terms of working with Chris?
Yeah, lovely. I mean, I think like a great connection. It felt like we were both listening to each other in the room, which is what you hope as an actor, and you know, just responding genuinely. And he was really kind and really warm. Just felt like an easygoing energy as soon as I entered the room. So I thought whoever gets this role is going to have a nice time working with these people, because sometimes you go in and the rooms are so, they can be kind of intimidating, or you can feel like a fish out of water. But this wasn't the case at all. I remember feeling very calm and very welcomed.
So glad to hear
I
it. Yeah,
know.
Chris is just very down to earth, very, yeah. I would imagine he would be that way. He's always that way with us when we've encountered him. And
Totally.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
important to
calm
just make,
energy.
you know, you as a newcomer feel comfortable in the room and in the space. That's very cool.
Did you have any kind of trepidation when you go to the set the first time? Because it's kind of intimidating. I mean, like 11 seasons and you're
I
going to
know.
12. I mean, how was that for you?
Absolutely. It's kind of like it's feeling like you're the new kid at a school. I would
Sure.
imagine. I was never the new kid, but I can imagine what that sensation must feel like. Is everyone, you know, has been working together. They are sets say that they're a family all the time, which is true, but this genuinely does feel like a family given
Good. Yeah.
the time that they've worked together. So the first day was, I mean, it's amazing because you get there and it's just like, it feels like an amusement park for anyone interested in 1920s rural Canada, America land. Like, it's just
Yeah.
amazing. Everything, the set deck is phenomenal and the props are incredible and everything just feels so tactile and real. So, as an actor, being able to feel like you're completely immersed in this world versus having kind of the fourth wall of, you know, while we still have cameras and lights and grip and metal and whatnot, surrounding that, you're in this beautiful pasture, or you're in what feels like a real saloon that has actual stairs. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. And we're so lucky as actors to get to work in that kind of environment. But as far as my first day was actually a riding day, just to
Oh,
kind
really?
Wow.
of, I'd ridden horses, and that was one of the requirements when auditioning. And I think they wanted to get a sense of basically, did I lie on my resume? Did I just say like, oh yeah, I can ride a horse in order to get a job? Which of all the things on your resume to anyone, don't say that you could write, because that would be a very scary thing. But they just wanted to see kind of what I could do, and I felt pretty comfortable on horseback. So luckily that was like a nice entryway. I didn't even have a scene my first day. I was just with some of the wranglers, and we did a quick hair and makeup test. I got to meet all the gals in hair and makeup who very quickly, the hair and makeup trailer is always just the best vibes and such down to earth, awesome people working in there. So they made me feel really at home. I got to quickly say hi to Erin that day and meet her in person. She made me feel super at home. So yeah, definitely from day one. And I'm not just saying this, I know it would be easy just to say, but I did feel like incredibly welcomed and thinking I've lucked out with this job big time.
Oh, wow.
Moving on to another Hearties question.
Okay.
Pam Wallace Hayer of Akron, Ohio, would love to hear more about your theater career. Is there a particular role you have done before that prepared you for playing Edie?
I like this question. Okay, so I guess quickly a little history of my theater career. I know a lot of folks that work in film and TV have a background in theater. It's definitely not uncommon to start there. I think I did my first show when I was maybe 5. I was doing theater. I was a Highland dancer. So I grew up. Yes, I was a Scottish Highland dancer.
So cool.
Yeah, for a really long time, and competed a lot, and that was a big
Wow.
part of my identity. So that was cool. And then yes, did a lot of musicals growing up. I went to a performing arts high school and then went on to get my Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater. And I studied in New York and worked all over the
Wow.
place, and worked in Toronto for a bit. Yeah, so I've definitely, it feels like a home base for me. I feel like coming
Wow.
home when I step into a theater, just like the smell and the people and the environment and how ensemble based it is. It's yeah, it's such a special line of work for sure. I just finished doing a musical actually. I was playing Nancy in Oliver in Vancouver.
Oh, I
really?
thought it was
Fun.
Oliver from the
Who's there?
pictures. Very fun.
Yeah, so that was fun. So I got to do like my Cockney accent for a while. Very good. Very fun and very gritty, very different from Edie. I actually wrapped Calls the Heart and started rehearsals, I think, the next day for this
Wow.
job. So that was a cool toss up. I'm wondering if there is a character that prepared me for Edie. I think just generally speaking, getting to spend so much time in the past in theater because so
Mhm.
many classic plays and musicals are set, kind of turn of the century into the, 1920s, 30s, 40s. So you get uh, a bit of it's a good practice for any of these roles that come up in the film and television world, particularly Edie. I did a musical actually, called Parade. It's by Jason Robert Brown, and it is set in Georgia, in the early 1900s. So a bit earlier than the Edie timeline where we find her now, but just the way that people carried themselves and how costumes and pieces of clothing that people would wear in that time would affect your posture and the way that men and women would interact and the way that a woman would carry herself in a field of work such as law or such as cattle ranching. So it's been a nice I like to think of theater as it's almost like a history degree to some part because the drama
Absolutely.
True.
goes along with it. You really have to know what's happening
Mhm.
in the world and to people, psychology of the times, when you're working in specific time periods. So that's been majorly helpful.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, moving on, Shay Van Buren of Manchester, Michigan wants to hear about stepping into the persona of Edie with the costumes, which you touched on a little bit, and the hair and
Yeah.
the makeup, and how all of those elements kind of contributed to the birth of this new character.
Cool. Um, yeah, I think that going back to the time periodness of it all, costume and makeup and hair is such an amazing in because it is going to immediately feel so different than the jeans and t-shirt that I put on in the morning. I'm going to carry myself differently in my Lululemon pants that I am to a three-piece pinstripe suit, right?
Right.
So just feeling the structure was really nice to kind of influence physicality, shoes, having a pencil skirt, and how does that affect the way that you walk? Accessories, things like gloves. Obviously, we can't ignore the little glasses, Miss
Yes.
Martel, and the buttoned up and the hair. But yeah, the glasses definitely those feel like the final piece when I have the whole outfit on, and then but it's like the Superman Clark Kent moment. Going, not that I think I'm
I love that. That's funny.
something like a cheap a poor man's Superman putting Clark
Poor
Kent.
man, Superman.
I mean, it does.
Uh,
You look at yourself and you go, "Oh, okay, I know who that is. That's Edie." But Barbara, the costume designer, have you had a chance to speak with her? Have
Oh,
you spoken?
yes.
She's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So amazing. I was talking about this just the other day, and how she took I think it was a two-piece suit, like it was a pair of pants and a pinstripe jacket. And we were thinking, should we do pants? Because not a lot of people wear pants. It's a lot of skirts. And, Edie's coming in. She's got this big job. Maybe she would wear pants. So we tried. And then she got the idea to maybe not go quite into the pantsuit right away, but turn that pantsuit into a pencil skirt with a waistcoat. So she somehow took a pair of pants and turned it into a skirt and a vest. So I have this full, beautiful custom. It's the pinstripe cream suit that Edie's wearing first on the train.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just
She's
like
just amazing.
she's
She's
incredible. She's
amazing.
so talented, and it's a full family affair. She has like her mom and
Yeah.
her dad, and
Yep.
Yeah, that white pinstripe was it was
so
Gorgeous.
stunning. It was really
all of
beautiful.
it. I love like the
Yeah.
blue. I think she did such a beautiful job, and
Yeah.
the there's a green, I think you see it really briefly in maybe episode 3. It's the kind of green pastel-y suit with the cute scalloped. I love everything I wear. I'm so happy. I love things. I could go on.
Yeah, no, so good. So
Yeah.
good.
And then
Well,
the hair look as well, like that was a particular, you know, the kind of buttoned upness. And I think it's definitely a look for Edie for the moment.
yeah. Well, I was predicting 2 or 3 chats ago. I don't even know who we were talking to, but probably Mike Roll, because we were
Yeah.
talking about the buttoned up, and I'm like, I'm just ready to have her,
Like the
put it
hair
on
down,
and just,
the
the glasses go out.
the fan. How she needs to be
Oh,
on
it's happening. It is happening.
Hey.
Except, and we talked to Elise,
Yeah.
the director of the
Oh,
cat
love Elise.
scene,
Yeah.
this week, and we were like, here's what we were expecting, the hair, we were expecting Edie's hair to come down, and
Yeah.
instead it was Lucas's hair was down.
Honest. Everyone wants Lucas's hair to come down. I think people can
Exactly.
hate on
Yeah.
Edie's hair with the toss
I
on.
would vote for that.
Hair
I'd
look,
vote for
yeah,
that.
Really cute look.
fantastic.
I know. Maybe one day we'll see Edie loosen up a little bit.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully.
it's
Hopefully.
on.
Who knows?
Well, the thing is, our first impression of Edie was, got a lot of moxie, and she just strolled into the governor's office, like a lot of confidence. Exactly. Here I have a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Hello, governor.
But in the first interaction with Lucas and Edie, there is some underneath I don't know, attraction. We have what Terry Duncan of Florida. She wants to know about that
It's a him,
hint of
actually.
attraction.
It's a male Hardy, Terry.
Oh, sorry, Terry. Sorry,
Terry.
Terry. Sorry.
Well, Terry, I don't know. I guess we can only pick up what these characters put down. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, we're picking up on something. We're
All
picking up
right.
I
something.
know. I think that definitely there is an undeniable energy between these two characters. I think that there's maybe a bit of tension, maybe a bit of intrigue, curiosity, and I can't really remember anything.
We'll
No, I think
see.
that I think there's a spark there. And whether that turns into a friendship or a romance or a faux ship, who's to say?
Ooh, I love faux ship. I've
Imagine.
never heard that.
I
Oh,
know,
I
I
love
think I
it.
just made that word up. Let's
Mm.
have
Yeah.
that word. Yes, I think that I would say there's undeniable chemistry, and I'm excited to see what happens down the line with these two characters. But it's cool to see that people are picking up on it because, some moments it feels more subtle than others. But I always like that when I'm watching shows and I'm kind of like, will they, won't they? I think
Yeah.
Oh,
we
Hearties
just
will
don't
let you
know.
know.
Well,
I
I'm
know.
gonna.
Yes.
I-
They know more than I do, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
true.
well, Lucas, he had a broken heart, I don't know if
know.
he's ready to, go all in. Who knows? Who
I think
knows?
so. And what I will say though is I think that both of these characters have hurt in their past.
Ooh,
I think that there's feelings of maybe neglect or loneliness or longing that they both maybe use their jobs to kind of mask that. And I think that as we find in our own lives, finding people that have been through things that you have been through can make for beautiful relationships, be those friendships or, a hot and heavy romance. Who knows? Either way, I think it's important that like these two people have connected at this moment in time.
yeah.
Right.
Well, so I know we're gonna talk about the situation with Lucas and the pasture and the calf in
Oh,
a
yes.
moment, but I'm like, I think that's the scene that it was revealed that Edie was not engaged.
Mm.
Like, and so that, I think that parallel, like what you just said,
Yeah.
really interesting. Like they've had, like the same journey, just, now it's
In
kind
different
of,
places.
yeah.
I know. And
Yeah.
it's great to see people, picking up on that obviously, because Edie says, I was engaged, I'm not anymore. And so
Yeah,
that is Lucas's truth as well. He was engaged,
exactly.
not anymore. And I think they both, I'm sure, still have complex feelings for these other people. You know, Lucas, I'm sure, still has complex feelings for Elizabeth. Edie still has complex feelings for her, you know, ex-fiance.
Sure. Yeah.
And honoring the complexity of that and the nuance of that feels really true to life. And I think something that I know if I was an audience member, I would want to see that unfold, and how these two characters with similar pasts, and almost similar presence in a way too, kind of take the next step forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Edwin, so I'm just going to say my dad was named, he was Edwin. So
Oh.
I always appreciate the character name, but so I love him. I love him as an actor too, but Edwin,
Yes.
you know, he's the one that brings you to governor's quarters, or, you know, they introduced, well, Edwin introduces Lucas and Edie
Yes.
in the first time. But Edwin is played by Erik
Erik Gao.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who coincidentally submitted a question to you. So I'm guessing that you are like, you know each other.
Oh, yes, Erik and I know
true?
each other. Yes. Erik is also a man of the theater. Erik is a very multi-talented person. He does cinematography and photography and directs things, and he's a music director. He does many, many things. So we've worked on another film together. We just know each other from the theater world. Yes, paths cross all the time.
So he submitted a question. So
For me.
Erik from
It's
Vancouver,
the best question. It's a stare. The way he
Yeah, it
worded
says
it was adorable.
Yeah, it said long time listener, first time
Caller.
caller.
First-time
Yeah,
caller.
that was how.
Oh my gosh, Erik.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Okay.
But so he hears that you are a tremendous singer, and wonders if you could sing a few bars from a musical theater standard for all the folks from home.
Erik Gao, I'm gonna get you. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Throwing down the gauntlet there.
Putting me on the spot. Oh, really?
I'm ready.
Okay, what's on the top of my brain? I'll sing. You know what? I just did this. So I will sing a section of I just did Oliver, the musical, and I played Nancy in Oliver. So I'll sing a few sentences. Okay, here it goes. As long as he needs me, I know where I must be. But will he never see that someone else needs me? Erik Gao. Someone else needs me, and it's these three lovely interviewers.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
Erik.
gorgeous.
Just
Wow.
a tidbit. Wow. Okay, you have to tell me when you're having Mr. Gao on, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I will
payback
record this.
time. Yeah, you just
I'm
keep
gonna find the
planning it.
hardest song in the male musical theater planet. And I'm
The
gonna
range.
say,
Don't even let him have a choice of what to sing.
I'm gonna
We'll
sing
tell him what to
Defying
sing.
Gravity from
Oh
Wicked.
yeah, no,
Oh,
There you
totally,
go.
totally.
You
That's
heard it here.
hysterical. Well, you
Oh,
are a
that's
very
funny.
good sport. My goodness.
Thank you. No, that's fun.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Oh,
Oh,
my
thank
gosh.
you. Yes,
Yes.
it was a lovely song. I got to sing that
Oh,
every
that's
week for
amazing. The
over
best
a month.
song. Yeah.
Wow.
That.
Well, so it's so great that we are getting to talk to you at this point in the season, because last week we kind of started peeling back some of Edie's layers.
Yeah.
And how recently do you think that she lost her uncle and inherited the ranch? You know, it was hard to tell. Was it recent and really raw, or was it, you know?
Yeah, I always interpreted it as it being kind of recent. She does talk about Uncle Ernie helping to put her through law school. So her parents passed. So she is, you know, an adult orphan, I guess you would say. So she she definitely sees Uncle Ernie as a very paternal figure and someone who's had a huge impact in her life. I was imagining, that he stuck around. He was alive long enough to see her through law school, and perhaps in the past few years, and kind of the advent of her really getting out there and sinking her teeth into the actual career of being a lawyer. I could imagine it being somewhere around that time, and that felt kind of high stakes for me too, playing Edie, in that this is something that she's still kind of grappling with. It's not
Mhm.
very, a memory from her youth or something, but something that still has some resonance to it. So when she talks about him, there being a true sense of wanting to honor his legacy, given that she was able to have a relationship with him into her adult years, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
'Cause she seems to have a lot of just really precious memories of the ranch
Yeah.
and, spending summers there and such. And so how does the backstory that you created for Edie kind of ground her, or is she a little less sure-footed in the ranching role? You know, like you
Right. I love that. Yeah, I love that question. I was thinking about that, something similar to that when I was watching just this past episode.
Mhm,
You get to kind of see, and the writing does this, but Edie lets her guard down a bit when she's on horseback, and it's kind of the first time we see her be vulnerable with Lucas,
mhm,
talking about her past and talking about really sweet, girly childhood things like pixies and fairies and treasure maps. And I think she catches herself because she's kind of she's in that place of, yes, I'm a lawyer and I want to maintain that energy and I want this man to take me seriously and have respect for me, because I think that's something she's coming up against all the time, being a lawyer in the 1920s, being a woman,
absolutely.
having to
Mhm.
almost overcompensate sometimes with
Mhm,
and the briskness and the pace with which she speaks. So I just thought it was really sweet the way that they wrote it, to have her really take a second and kind of revisit the other side of her that is tender and soft and vulnerable and curious and wide-eyed. So I think that she feels, to answer that question, I think she feels more comfortable on the ranch than she's letting on, just because I think
mhm,
there's a quiet knowing that,
mhm,
her time spent there was not for nothing. There was something, it was kind of a meant to be thing that she would inherit this ranch. And while she maybe doesn't really understand, there's a lot going on right now. She's lost her uncle. She's trying to open her own practice. She's inherited this ranch. She's in a brand new place, doesn't know anyone. I was always coming back to the fact that Edie finds a lot of comfort and a lot of solace in knowing this land and having that connection to someone who is so dear to her. So I think even in the parts where she's, mucking out whatever, or a calf gets loose and she forgot to lock just the gate, there's still a sense of home that I think she really probably has always longed for.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you touched on it a little bit before about being an experienced writer. Um, you definitely don't want to say that you can write, and you
Yeah.
definitely can.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, yeah, not don't want to lie about that.
No, no.
Um, and Christy Stevens of, where is she? Holland. Oh, Christy Stevens Holland of Oxford, Mississippi would love to hear more about how you found that aspect of filming, kind of the logistics of writing while conveying all that your character had to say. Because, like you said, you were really vulnerable when you were writing, and just how that all played out.
Hmm. So yeah, I rode horses on and off growing up, and then when I was in high school, I taught therapeutic horseback riding. So we would teach
Oh,
horseback
lovely.
riding. Yeah, it was so lovely. I did it for a high school volunteer requirement.
Mhm,
I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, we have to complete a certain number of community service volunteer hours in order to graduate. So that was my jam in high school. My very good friend and I would wake up at like 6 o'clock on Saturday mornings, and we would go out to the barn and we would teach kids that had a lot of, like, folks had cerebral palsy and Down
mhm,
syndrome and like all spectrums of autism. And it was so wonderful because
Mhm.
best horses, and just seeing the relationship between youth and horse and just the calmness that was able to be achieved on horseback and how excited and empowered and like filled with agency they were. That was such a special time. And thus just meant I got to spend a lot of time around horses and a lot of time riding myself. And then from then just always try, I feel like maybe 2 to 3 times a year I would find myself, we would go to like ranches in the interior of BC and ride. And then I directed a documentary that is all about a landmass called the Muskwa Kachika, which is in northern British Columbia. And we
wow.
spent 2 weeks on horseback going through the mountains of kind of southern Yukon, northern British Columbia. And so we were filming the documentary and we were on.
Oh,
That's amazing.
Yeah, so had it was actually funny. Some of the ranchers and that or the wranglers that work on set knew the guy who was featured in our documentary just
my
because
gosh.
Oh, really?
Wow.
and he's an amazing leather worker. So he makes all his own beautiful leather bridles. So he's kind of a well-known figure. But yes, long story, lots of experience on horseback in that capacity. But I had never acted and I had never been on set and also had to hit a mark and remember my lines and know where my eye line is and stop the horse before it
Oh my
runs
gosh.
the camera.
Yeah.
Because the precision is just so important, right? Because this is where the camera is set up. In real life, if I stop, it doesn't really matter if I stop here or several feet in front of me.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you're on set, you got to stop exactly where you're meant to stop and right where that T mark is. So
Oh, and that has to be so hard. I mean, it's hard enough to stop yourself, but to
I
stop yourself
the
and a
horses
horse.
are great. I will say the horses are they're more experienced on set than any of us are put together. Those horses are working every day. They are
Oh, we laugh. There's a horse, Robin, that
yeah,
literally like looks right at the camera. I mean,
such a star.
Robin knows where the
Oh, they
camera
know, and they
is.
kind of do like a little side eye. They're always like, yeah, I swear, these horses with wings.
Camera ready all the
They're
time.
always camera ready and they're so beautiful. But
That's funny.
yeah, so definitely a different thing having to act and hit all the technical aspects of filmmaking while on horseback. But there is something really lovely too that so Jamie, one of the main wranglers on our crew, he would say just take a deep breath. The horse knows if you're feeling nervous about having to do all of this that it is to act on horseback, take a deep breath. The horse is going to know that you're calm. And when you're calm, the horse is calm. And it's nice because it gets you out of your head. As
so
an actor, I find
good.
you're doing something so practical, right? You're just saying the lines, telling the truth, as opposed to saying the line and thinking like, oh shoot, did I say that right? Did that sound weird? Or, any of the mental gymnastics we can sometimes do on set.
Sure.
But yeah, it was such a fun day. I really really enjoyed getting to kind of bring that part of my life into this part.
Well, and the horseback riding was really going to the pasture with the calf. And so how much fun was it to be with Chris on that day? I mean, this is your job.
I know. Teach me. What a lucky. It's such a lucky life to spend your workday running around a field after an adorable calf. There were some fun things that happened that day. I remember it being quite hot and very
Oh,
humid
really?
Ooh.
too. Yeah, so we were working up a real sweat and we really were running all over the place. So in that final scene when we say, I don't think I'm very good at this and we're kind of out of breath, that is real breath that we are out of. Definitely. Have you spoken to Chris about this scene yet?
Not
No,
yet.
next
Okay.
week we do. So we're excited. Yes, next
Okay.
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, just ask him how many pairs of pants he went through.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes, he did share that on Edify this
Okay, he
week.
did. I know.
Yes, he
So
did share that he split his
only
pants.
went
Yes.
through. It was just the one, and it was luckily. So this is what I will say: I'll roast him and I'll praise him at the same time. Luckily, he's very good at wrangling, and he's a very skilled person because he got the horse on the first, or not the horse. Imagine if he was wrangling a horse. He got the calf. That would be a different thing. He got the calf first try. The first try. And he picked him up beautifully on the first try. When he picked the calf up, there was a wardrobe malfunction in that he split his pants. Really deep squat. His trainer would be proud. The pants, yes. So because there was only one pair of pants, that was the one we got, and luckily he it was no notes, show ready, try one. So yes, I didn't rip my pants. Edie was not doing as much of the as much of the rescuing. Thank
You should have been
God.
looking for her ring, but she didn't
I
care
know.
too
She didn't
much
seem to
about her
care too
ring.
much
She
Yeah.
did
about
not seem to
that,
care
right?
about that at all.
No,
It was
No, I
Not at
wonder
all.
why.
it was like a
Yeah.
dime store throwaway rig,
I know.
clearly.
She was like, please, I got that in a gumball machine. I painted it gold myself.
It's not real. It's not
yeah.
No, that
real.
was fun. That was a really fun day, and just cute to be hanging out with all those the sweet baby calf. There was also
Yeah.
the calf's mom there as well, I remember, because we had two calves and one had been bottle fed and then the other was kind of just wild and really attached to its mom. So we were using both interchangeably because one, we had to have a calf that would let Chris pick it up. And then we
Right.
also needed a calf that wouldn't come to us and would run away so that we could capture the
Oh
running.
my word.
So we had the wild calf for all the running, and then we had the bottle fed sweet, sweet baby that you could go up to
Ooh.
and you could just stick your fingers out and the calf would just start suckling on your fingers.
Oh my.
Oh,
And they
That's
looked
so
exactly
cute.
the same?
Exactly the same. I know.
Oh,
I
wow.
wonder if Elise would. I think we did it. I know we had two on set. I'm pretty
She
positive.
did
we used
in the interview we did with
Yeah.
her. She did say that. Yes.
I
Yeah.
think we used both of them, but yeah,
Yes,
they look
she
exactly the
did
same.
say that. Yes.
That whole scene, there's a lot of romantic tropes for that. So did you talk to Chris about, together about this scene and, things that you were, um, bring ideas that were not really on the page that you kind of, not even ad-lib, but, the conversation that you had with Chris? Because we love the Hearties, we love what we do. Like, we love love. I mean, that's the whole thing. So, but the idea with the horses, the hand touching, the
Yeah,
tousled hair, we love the tousled hair.
of of course,
Just
yes.
telling you.
Yeah,
The
I mean, I
calf
didn't have
roping,
any,
all of that.
right. I didn't have any input on the tousled hair. That was all that was all
Oh,
all
Chris.
hair makeup, all the magic hair makeup. But yeah, I think we discussed it a little bit, especially when you do your kind of first rehearsal and you're blocking, it can feel kind of technical of, the camera has to capture the fact that there's now no ring on Edie's hand and we have to
Mhm.
capture the looks and you got to get these pieces of the puzzle for the edit. And then I always feel like it's the actor's job to embed that with the chemistry and the romance and the longing and it is will they won't they kind of a thing and the curiosity. So I think we were just kind of careful to not get into anything too quickly. I think that this is a slow burn friendship relationship ish thing. So being aware of, finding one moment kind of where they maybe connect and see each other in a different light. And that was fun. I don't think we planned anything too heavily. I think pretty quickly we got into a good rhythm. We had done some scenes together, obviously, in previous episodes and gotten to know each other just as people. So I think we both just trust each other to kind of bring those moments. It's also nice when you don't really have a plan as an actor. You kind of your basics
Yeah.
you're going to hit, kind of the outline, but you want to get those natural reactions on camera. So just trusting your scene partner, which I feel like I have a lot of trust in Chris, and I hope you would say the same. And I think that that's kind of what lends itself to finding all of those little romantic tropes that we so, crave as an audience because it feels real, right? It doesn't feel planned.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about your audition process. We have a question with Christina Chen of Missouri. Wants to know how much you knew about the show before you auditioned.
I definitely knew, I mean, being an actor in Vancouver, When Calls the Heart's been on for so long, so it does feel like a pillar of this industry town. Lots of folks are working on set in front of the camera, behind the camera, and call Vancouver home. So it's one of those shows that is definitely known about town. And I knew my Nana loved it. She's seen every episode. She doesn't know the term
Mm.
Hardy, but she is a Hardy.
Oh,
She's
of course she
Well, maybe
is.
she does know the term Hardy. I don't know. I know she does. I'm giving her no credit. She's a genius. She's very smart. But so she watched the show. Um, but when I got the audition, I obviously did some research. I think I had seen a few episodes just when friends had done guest appearances or things like that. Um, but I went back and I really started to get a proper sense and do some research and watch quite a lot of it just to know where we were at in Hope Valley, and especially the storyline as it pertains to Lucas, given that Edie was, is brought in to be a kind of big part of in his story. So did some digging and but also tried to, you want to have that in the back of your actor brain, but then also Edie doesn't know any of these things, right? So it's like
Right.
it's that kind of like personal dramatic irony that you have to have where the actor wants to be super prepared and know about this world, but then making sure that the character doesn't make decisions based on things that they wouldn't know. Does that make sense, kind of?
Yeah, and we also we talked about the parallels with the broken engagements, things like that,
Right.
for you and for Edie and for Lucas. And but Lucas is really a treasure for well, for all Hearties, but we have a special, it's like, okay, he needs to have
We're
some love.
protective. Yes.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, when you're, like, we were talking about, 11 years of 11 seasons of this show, and then you're going into it in a way that now we are looking for Lucas because we're protecting Lucas as, are the Hearties. We just kind of bubble him up and make sure that he's not going to be, I love that the compassion of some, for our Hearties, that, they love all of our characters. So, but when you're going in there as a performer, how do you bubble yourself from like expectations or anything like that in this moment, especially with the calf scene? I call it a calf scene. I don't know if that's what.
No, I love it. The calf scene. Yes. That's a great question. It's really sweet. It feels as though Lucas has, an army of 1,000 moms on his side. That just want the best for their
I'm not sure that's how they'd like to think of themselves, but I think that is the case.
That's really a good one.
Describing it was like the in the protective
Totally.
sense.
Totally.
Or an army of
Yeah.
1,000 wives. Maybe it's an army of 1,000 wives.
Something,
like
yeah,
a lot of aunts,
sounds
a
good.
lot of,
Exactly.
sisters,
Yes, it's just like people that, and I think when you've been with a character for so long, and that's the beauty of TV, right? Is they're right there with you in your home, so you feel like you get to know them, you want the best for them, especially when it's a TV show that you really care about. So I totally get that, and there is a bit of pressure, to live up to the expectation. I think that's where I was going with that mom thing, is that it feels almost as though you're introducing yourself to your
the family.
Yes.
the new
Yeah.
family that you really want to be liked, and you want to think that you're, enough, or charming enough or smart enough, whatever. But at the end of the day, my job is to show up and, come to work. And being an actor is just like, being a teacher, being an accountant, working in any other capacity. You have to just show up and you do your job.
Yeah.
It's a very, blue collar job for the most part. It's you say your lines and you have this beautiful experience. While yes, on one hand, it's amazing. You're running around in a field, or you're on a train set, and you think like, how magical is this? But I always like to kind of go back and just reinforce the fact that this is just, another job, and I want to come and be good at my job just as I would if I was doing anything else, and kind of keep my head down. And if I'm doing something that feels truthful to me and truthful to the moment, hopefully that will resonate with the people watching it. And I think that people appreciate truth, and people appreciate when a job is done well. So I try to just
Authenticity.
yeah, I think I just try to block out any of the noise and expectation, because you're never going to please everyone. There's going to be people that really like Edie for Lucas, and there are going to be people that wish he was still with Elizabeth, and there will be people that wish he would get with Faith, or wish that he would find a completely new person. So I think just kind of letting go of the expectation and just
Mm,
serving the story has felt like a healthy thing for
sure.
me.
Yes.
So interesting
Perfect.
that you use the word noise, because when we talked to Kevin McGarry several seasons ago, he used that exact same word and said
Yeah,
that one of the things that he's really learned in this role, because he came in as the Mountie on the heels of the passing of the
totally.
much
Other
beloved,
Mountie.
Yeah.
much beloved Mountie. And
Yeah.
so he does, he talks about tuning
Yeah.
out that noise, and that it's been a very good exercise in, just having to focus on the performance and not let all of that get
Exactly.
really interesting.
No,
So
I completely agree. Yeah. I think
yeah, well, you guys are such seasoned pros that 1,000 moms is absolutely right. So
everyone wants the best. And how could you not? He's such a sweet character. He deserves a break. So who
well,
knows?
he's
Maybe
definitely been on this hero's journey, and
yeah.
our writers have said that they've, forced him up a tree and are throwing rocks at him. And so this,
I think every show needs that. And I
of
think that
course,
Chris
but
is
but the
he's
moms
a good
don't
actor.
really enjoy that part.
I know.
They want their beloveds to
Of
have
course.
an easy time of it. So
Of
it's a
course.
little helicopter parenting on our part. So
Helicopter
to
anything.
carry this metaphor really far.
I know.
Uh,
Not yes, but I do think that Chris is like a really capable actor. So I like
Indeed,
seeing
he
him
is.
navigate those kinds of scenes, right? Like the Lucas and Lee
The
stuff. I know
acting chops.
people weren't happy with that, but I know for myself as an actor, you have to kind of put aside the ego of yourself if people aren't going to, like you because of choices that your character makes. Well, maybe those choices that your character is making are really good for the storyline, or they service another plot, or they are
To
engaging.
speak directly to Eric Gow on that one.
Yeah, Erik. Yeah.
Because we love to hate Edwin.
I know, which it's just so funny because Eric's the best. He's just the kindest, sweetest person in real life. But I think
Excuse me for interrupting you, but there
no,
you
that's
go.
okay. Anything to get back at Erik Gow.
Good. All right.
That's
So
funny.
Started, ladies. What have we started?
I know. Should we get a season 13, which we definitely, I just saw the ratings for this week and we're killing it. So
So
more of the same, Hearties. Should we get a season 13? Heatherhood of Minneapolis wonders whether this role would appeal to you over the long term.
oh my gosh, yes. Are you
Oh,
getting?
Yay.
all right. You don't
love-
have a touring company of Oliver coming up that's going to
no, nothing on
Barb.
that.
I
No,
love it.
I love playing this role. She's so smart and
Oh
witty.
gosh, she is.
Thick, like just the word
Yes.
kind of roll off my tongue. My grandpa used to always say I was a very maybe precocious child. Is that a nice way of putting it? As
Love it.
young theater children are want to be, but
Mm.
I definitely had like an answer for everything, and I really needed to know why, and I needed to plead my case constantly. And so he would
Oh my
always
gosh. Okay, you can cut this part out, but
okay.
I have a theater child and you
There
just
you go.
described her to a T.
You know
I didn't
what?
even think about that.
Yes.
Just like it's the agency of like hear me.
Goodness.
I know. So he would always
Sorry,
no,
that
I
was so
Oh,
good.
It's
I love it.
absolutely
I love it.
come
And
on.
I'm not going to edit that at all.
No.
No,
No,
we've
keep that.
met Pascal Hutton. We've seen precocious children
right.
turn into
Exactly.
overacting
I
amazing.
know.
Yeah,
He,
in the
but
best
he would
possible
always
way.
say like, "Oh, God, you're gonna make a great lawyer one day." So it's fun to now play I got to
lawyer.
pick both of those dreams. His dream for me and my dream for me. So I get to act as a lawyer. But yeah, I think there's this, you get to do so much with this role, and even the things that we've kind of yet to see this season with Edie were just so fun and full and deep, complex. So yes, if the show would have me, I would happily be back as Miss Martel, but who knows what the future holds.
Gosh, so exciting. Okay, so we're just gonna have some fun.
Okay.
If I like to put myself into the heads of the writers,
Okay.
and I just think if the four of us were in the writers' room ahead of season 12, and we were creating a character that we thought might be a potential happily ever after, love forever, like what characteristics or what personality traits or what kinds of things do you think would appeal to Lucas? I'm just
Ooh,
just spitball to see if
okay.
maybe we have a match here. What are your thoughts?
Okay.
You can start us off.
Let's see. I would say, okay, I'm gonna do my best to just not describe Edie, but
No, that's where I'm going with this. So yeah, that's where I'm going with this.
I
Believe me.
somebody, I think someone, and this is not just Edie, this is any woman that I would hope for our dear governor. Someone who listens to him but challenges him. I think that he spends a lot of time making important decisions, high stakes decisions. He's kind of torn in many directions. He's worn many hats over, in his journey through Hope Valley. So I would imagine that he probably has a lot of internal self-talk, and perhaps that's analytical, or perhaps that's I don't know. I mean, we all have self-deprecating moments. Or I want to be doing this, and we see that in his storyline and his character quite often is like this pull between what the heart wants to do versus what he thinks he should do or what people expect him to do. So I think a character, a love interest perhaps, that would be able to relate to that, I think would be really healthy. So not someone that would wallow in it with him, but a person that could feel like a partner in crime for kind of taking those feelings of the heart and making them like acting on them for the good of the people, and also for the good of themselves, and someone who would remind him to maybe not be hard on himself. Maybe take a horseback ride here and there. Someone with
Yeah.
That's what I was just
Yeah,
gonna say. I
totally.
want that for them, because I really love seeing him on the horse anyway, because
Yeah,
he's a
totally.
good rider. So I would
Yes.
love to have that there. But I think
Yeah,
that
someone.
Lucas needs some mystery too. Like
Ooh, yeah.
he doesn't want a simple person. He needs to have, and I think we saw it with some challenging conversations, and he's not really not understanding, but not sure about Edie early
Mm,
in the conversation. So yeah,
mm.
I would think that he needs something that is challenging for him, some mystery that
and
he needs to
and some
solve.
fun too. I think like
Yeah.
someone that maybe makes him feel like a kid again. Maybe a character that's also longing to feel that joy of youth, and curiosity, and
Yeah. Well, I think the other, because the whole idea with little Jack,
mm,
um, and so, we haven't had the opportunity to see them on screen now. So I would want them to be, well, I mean, like with Lucas, to be interacting with some of these smallers,
yeah,
or all
yes,
smalls, to, because I
yeah,
know those were really sweet. And I think that that would be something that Edie would enjoy seeing too.
totally. I know. Who knows how far down the line these two get? We'll
Yeah,
never know.
I think the fact that, oh, Jen, did I interrupt you? I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the fact that they have placed her in such close proximity to Hope Valley is very interesting. So not only, so everybody going into the season was like, oh, she has to be smart. So we've checked that box. She's an attorney. She needed that Moxie. But then on top of it, for her to have a ranch close to Hope Valley is very interesting because
Mm,
really accustomed to with the writers is that when they introduce a guest character, it's usually to service that season's usually a caper or a mystery. And we've seen this a lot with Bill Avery, like a villain or a femme fatale, or somebody will come in and then they, sadly disappear. We don't necessarily see them again. But so it's interesting to me that they have given Edie a reason to be so close. I'm just saying.
right.
And
Yeah, interesting. And something that doesn't necessarily go away. Like a ranch isn't
No,
really going
no.
anywhere.
Right.
But it's not right. No,
Does she have
but-
any,
Oh.
is there any connection to a gold coin or the
A
Garrison Gang?
medal.
Yes.
Any,
How
like
many
that.
storylines can she fit in, this girl?
any,
We'll have to
yeah.
see.
Janetta
as a
Quad,
lawyer.
does she go
Hazelnut
Janetta?
Empire, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
when they
never know.
really match each other's kind of work energy.
Yes.
I try not to compare, but I am, because
Yeah. Go for it.
stick around.
Yeah.
And so
Spitballing.
you have the Edie has the lawyering part and the drive and the ambition to climb the ladder a little bit,
Yep.
and Lucas has that as well.
Yep.
And yet, like Marg was saying, with the ranch being really nice and close to Hope Valley, when he goes back to Hope Valley, Edie also has a reason to go back to Hope Valley.
Exactly.
And if
I
you're
know.
the writers and you're thinking about the governor, the fact that she's a lawyer is going to put her in a position to have stories that work together.
Absolutely.
I was gonna
that
say
really-
power couple
Yeah.
for sure. I'm still kind of perplexed about Lucas and having the roping skill, because I don't know where that comes from. From
Correct.
his,
He's a man
his
of mystery.
Yes.
Well,
Lots of
that is a
talent.
good
I
mystery.
know, right? Like, how does Lucas, the character, just know? And I kind of like the way that it was edited, because and unwritten, obviously, but you see Edie kind of going like, "Okay, sure, yeah,
Right.
you think you're gonna do this?" And then
That's
genuinely
why I wanted a
he's
hot
like,
air
"Oh,
balloon.
yeah."
I wanted a hot air balloon.
I
You can
know, I
certainly
know.
lasso a calf.
A great point. Anyone who's confident enough to take their girlfriend or the fiance,
I-
was it?
I think she was just girlfriend at
Just
that point.
Just
I can't
girlfriend at
remember.
that point,
Oh, it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
You know, you're taking them up into a hot air balloon. You're roping calves in your sleep.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just, and the idea of Lucas as a ranch hand. That
I know.
Our dandy.
Yes,
Lucas
exactly.
It
Bouchard,
was fantastic.
governor.
It was fun. Yeah.
No,
Well,
I
I like when you get to see characters in a different light like that.
Yeah.
That was our Allie Devereaux who wrote that episode, and she is a Heartie through and through. She's the one who keeps the Wind Calls the Heart Bible, which I don't even know how many pages, like 1,000 pages at this point, of every detail. She would know Edie's favorite color. She would know Edie's birthday. It's all there. So we always love her writing, and I think she did a great job with this episode. So I'm glad.
Oh, great. Yeah, really, it's lovely to say those words too, because they kind of just roll off the tongue and they feel like very, very natural, very situational. So yeah,
Mhm.
she knows her stuff.
Well, we don't know where her story is going. I hear a lot of positive possibilities, and I
fun.
think the fact that you had a chemistry read's got to mean something. So, we're just excited that we've gotten to be on this train with you and to get to know you a little bit. Miranda, thank you for spending so much time with us.
Oh, of course, this was so fun. It's so great to kind of go down memory lane and touch back into the days on set. And no, I'm really happy to be here. The Hearties are a very welcoming bunch, so I feel nothing but love and a lot of gratitude for the warm welcome, not only just on set, but in the internet world as well. It's been really
Good.
kind.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's been positive for you.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
lovely. So we've gotten Miranda's take on it, and we can't wait to hear Chris McNally's kind of perspective. And we're going to talk to him next week. So, stay tuned for that one as well. So thank you for submitting your questions. And so Hearties, we know that we need to have your voice, and that's what we do every week. So want to remind you about the schedule for the Super Bowl weekend. So this is the first time that we're going to do a Saturday viewing. So it's like on Hallmark Channel, Saturday, February 8th at 9 Central. So make sure you change your calendars or your DVRs, whatever you need to do to make sure that you know that it's going to be on a Saturday night, and then you'll have all Sunday to enjoy the Super Bowl. So that's what the situation will be. And that just make sure that you know that it's going to be Saturday, 9 Central on February 8th. So thank you so much for your questions, like we said before, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also we have the podcast. We have Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and
yes.
iHeart. So if you subscribe to those channels, please, if that's what you want to get all of the information for Heart to Hearties, go to that situation as well. So subscribe and like and opine in comments. We love to have all conversations with us, and then make sure that you're gonna do because we're gonna see you and do hashtag Hearties when you go to for X. So yeah, that's the only thing. I think Brian was saying that's the only hashtag that is really noticeable
Correct. For the Nielsen ratings.
with
Yes,
Nielsen
exactly.
ratings. Yeah. So make sure that you do that. But this has been really such a great conversation. Thank you,
So
Miranda. And we will see you soon. This is Heart to Hearties.